I forget what year, maybe like 2001 something. They took away his board.
Yeah.
Do you remember? Can you tell me a little bit about that time period, or how maybe he felt about that?
Well, I'm pretty sure that's the same thing that happened to me. I mean, my board was probably cut off in '99. I stopped getting paid maybe 2001 or something like that. So I can imagine, what he must have been feeling. But he never talked about it. We did our thing. We'd skate. We'd definitely skate. But then we had other issues. Just a lot of substance problems or whatever, alcoholism. For me, and for him too. So yeah, some dark times.
To be honest, no one knew exactly the extent of his partying, you know what I mean? Like, I didn't know. You know what I mean? I knew he was partying, but he hid. He was, like, on his own trip.
There was a point, it was, like, when I was pretty far out there partying and stuff, and I wanted to, like, kind of make a comeback at skating. And I called up Atiba, and he was actually like, for sure, man, I'll come shoot you. So we went out for, like, 2 days, and the first thing we shot was right here. It was a pivot kickflip on the Capitol Records bank to wall. And then another one was a frontside flip over, it was like a block away from my house.
I skated with Guy for like two and a half weeks, these 3 tricks I got. And then he disappears again.
And you couldn't even get him just to talk for the interview.
I didn't have a number for him. He would call me. The number I had didn't work. No one had really seen him, like Rick and them. People were, I think, kind of surprised when I was like, yeah, I got a thing, a Guy.
I remember it was like on the 4th of July, and it was super hot out that day. And I remember like after doing the trick, like I ended up like puking, because like my body was so out of shape, and it was just probably depleted of nutrition, and just wasn't used to skating. But I remember, and I was just telling Atiba, like, oh, it was because it was super hot or whatever. I had already kind of, like, removed myself from, like, hanging around, like, a lot of the girl guys or whatever. I mean, I would still see them around and stuff, but, like, I think I definitely removed myself from, like, hanging out with those guys. So I remember Ty said that he used to call me a lot or whatever, but I seriously barely remember it. I think Anthony Van Engelen had a picture doing a switch crooks on this ledge, and it was actually right by my house. And we came to check it out, and I remember looking across the street at this hotel, and I just seen like a bunch of shadiness going on. And I was like, oh, so like that's where the spot is, you know what I mean, by my house. This hotel actually like destroyed my life. It was a full-blown like crack hotel that, you didn't have to wait till night to come here. Like this thing was open 24 hours. Like my girlfriend, like we would talk about it. She'd like, I'd be like missing like for days or whatever, but she'd like just drive by this place and like have to like look in here and like, on the way to work and see if she seen me or something.
She knew about the spot?
Yeah. And
so you weren't even like living like a secret double life at that point? It wasn't
a secret. No, it wasn't a secret, man. It was like, I mean, like when you get caught in like a really bad addiction, it's like, to you it just seems normal, you know what I mean? The people that are affected and destroyed by it usually, and like that are going through the pain and feeling it, is like your friends and family.
He was like any other kid, any other junkie or alcoholic you'd see on the street. Straight up, you know what I mean? Like, super skinny and like, fuck, man.
I think I saw you one time around then. I used to stay with Andrew, and he lived on Sierra Bonita, and you were at Snake Pit.
Yeah.
With like Danny Manic or something.
Oh, I remember that. I remember that, like, yeah, and you took a picture of me.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were both walking this way, and I think I had like a Starbucks or something.
See, it's kind of hard to see, especially if you're at that bottom as well. If you're still drunk doing drugs, you know what I mean? When you're only weighing like 100 pounds when you should be weighing 150, it's like, you don't really see it because you're in it, He was just on one, man. on a very dark road. When you're doing tons of drugs and tons of alcohol and you're still functioning, and it's like some people who do those drugs would die. Heart would explode, you know? I haven't thought about this shit in a long time, man.
I mean, there's been times like where there's been traffic and I'm gonna take like the side streets home from the barracks or something, and I'll come through this area and I'll get that, like, you know, that empty, weird feeling in my stomach, just like seeing, you know, the lifestyle down here. Because I remember like being like, you know, one of these persons, or just coming down here and seeing this, and it's like familiar of like what I was doing and what they're doing right now. And it's a scary, I think I get scared a little bit. It gives me that like pit in my stomach, and it's like, you know, I'm uncomfortable down here. And when God said, when God said, let there be drugs, he said, fucking, here's history. Yeah, after the motel closed, I was forced to come down here. You know, I think too, like, more or less, like, you know, you're down here and like, you're like, you know, buying crack and getting some heroin and whatever, and you still think that this is like recreational. You know, you've hit some sort of bottom, you know what I mean? It's not recreational partying anymore. It was like a little deal going down. I remember one time coming down here to get some shit, and I ran into Paulo Diaz. And it was funny because I was like, hey, what's up, man? What have you been up to? It's like we're both like, oh, skating. And what have you been up to? Skating. And you know, I'm like, what are you doing down here? He's like, what are you doing down here? And we're both kind of avoiding the question, you know what I mean? Like, and we both just kind of came clean, and we're just like, all right, like, well, let's get some shit. I'm like, well, you want to go back to my house? Cool.
I wasn't filming anyone.
I'm gonna roll up my window so when the bottle comes flying, it doesn't hit me. I remember one time I did take the bus down here in the day, and like as I was on the bus, I seen Brian Lottie like skating down the street doing like backside 180s and stuff, and I was just like, wow, like, you know, we used to be on like Blind together, and it's like, I think like that I'd heard he was like living downtown in a loft like doing art and like making a skateboard movie, and like I'm on a bus down here to go like, you know, get some drugs. It was one of those moments where you, like, you know, find you wondering where you took the wrong turns in your life. I mean, do you want to ask me about...
Let me ask you about your girlfriend. It seems like she had to put up with a lot, and you guys are still together.
Yeah, man, like, I don't know where I would be without her. I would just be out, like, all night long, just, like, running out in the streets, just being crazy, like, throwing on shoes with no socks, like, skating down to the spot or something. And like just coming back with like the dirtiest feet, and like getting in bed, and she would just be like, well, what are you doing out there, you know what I mean? It's just from like going out and just walking around, just being around downtown LA and just whatever, just grimy.
Well, I used to have this thing with him, and you can't get in the bed with your Jesus feet, because it was like I would just wake up and at the foot of our bed was just like grime from like the streets of LA. We like laugh about it now, but obviously at the time it was not fun.
Yeah.
It was not cool. It was not good in any way whatsoever.